Communicating with investors. This is super important.
Yeah, so switching topics a little bit, but why do you need to regularly update your investors?
Yeah, I mean, you can also sometimes have tough conversations with your investors, but it's hugely important to keep your investors updated. They are invested in your company, both with their time and energy and money. And it's a great forcing function for the founder to monthly go through whatever those metrics are that they've, trying to hit for that month and plotting it out, putting it in an email, and then sending it to the investor who is, has put money into the company and wants to know what the health of the business is. It's also important to keep them updated on a regular cadence because you're going to need help at some point. And maybe that's help with a hire or help marketing your product. Or maybe it's, hey, we're running out of money and I don't know what to do. So by keeping them updated regularly, they're following along on your journey and are, they're more apt to help if they know what's going on. If they see the path to the challenge or to the success, they're just going to be more excited for you, or they're going to be more apt to help.
Yeah, we see this all the time with syndicates because we have so many members in a syndicate. We might have 50 or 100 or 150 angel investors invest in a company. And then one of the founders says, I need to meet somebody at Disney. They email that list of 100 investors and 4 people go, oh, my cousin works there, or somebody who worked in my last company works there, or we have a deal with them, with my venture firm or something. And boy, a lot of times you can request something from your investors and they will go above and beyond. We see people who invest $5,000 in a company, spending an inordinate amount of time trying to make those companies successful. What should be in the monthly update? What are the most important things, Ashley?
So the most important things are whatever your key metric is. Hopefully it's revenue. So what your revenue is for the month.
It will be eventually, by the way. Spoiler alert, if your startup is tracking metrics other than revenue and earnings, at some point, like when you go public, that's going to be what people want to discuss, right? Like we're sitting here right before Uber is going to go public, Lyft just went public, Pinterest is going public. At the end of that 10-year journey of building product and delighting customers, Wall Street and other financial investors at the end of the line are going to be like, what's your earnings? What's your EBITDA? What's the price to earnings ratio? We all get judged at the end of the day by that revenue number. Now, in the beginning, there might be more important things like how people are using the product, but eventually that will be the most important one. What are the other two you got here?
Absolutely. So the next one would be runway. And runway is helpful for both parties. As a founder, you should know how much runway you have at all times because it takes about 6 months to raise a round. So if you have 8 months left, you should be thinking about starting that next fundraise.
Last month.
Yeah. So and then the investor also knows when the founder is going to come to them and say, hey, we're raising another round. Can you do intros? Do you want to come into this round? And then the last is the risks. So whatever your sort of what your problems are, what you really, really need help with, whether it's product related or, team related, being transparent with these stakeholders is very, very important.
Revenue, runway, risks. It's just a great, easy top of mind. Everything else can go in there too. You could have job openings, you could have requests, all that stuff. But if they know the revenue, they know when you're out of money, and they know the risks, they can help. I mean, there could be requests in there. I put that as a fourth, maybe. There's a bunch of different things you could put there. But I really like the idea when founders tell their investors what they're concerned about, what their blockers are, what are the risks in the business, because you might get some good feedback, or somebody might have solved that problem already. Let's talk about board meetings here. I see start board meetings early is our next point. Why is that important?
Yeah, so adding governance to your company early is important so that you set yourself to a standard and that you be professional.
Yeah.
When you're,
like we said in the early slides, set a professional tone. Yeah.
When you're early and it's just you and your co-founder, it's, creating a time for the two of you to sit down and talk about the health of the business is crucially important. Yeah. And I don't believe that enough co-founders do this.
Yeah.
And then you can also use that time to invite, investors who are really involved, or if you have advisors, to invite them to the meeting and for feedback. They can be observers.
Yeah.
It makes them feel important. You get excellent feedback. You get focused attention from really smart people. So it's really important to formalize early. And then by the time you are raising or seed or Series A, your investor is going to want a board seat. So you already have this process going. You don't have to have these amateur board meetings the first couple of times, which makes the investor say, ooh, should I have invested in this company? You know, you hit the ground running. So it can be very, very helpful, even if it's in the early days, even if it's a little bit more informal, but really setting the time aside, you know, giving
an hour.
Yeah, an hour.
More than enough.
And also requesting that your teammates contribute to it by filling out a slide. Hey, you've been working on the product design for this. Can you put in everything that you've been working on the last quarter? Yeah. It's anywhere from 4 to 6 meetings a year as you move forward with your company. I mean, it really depends on what you're...
We see this as such an amazing advantage for the companies that do it early, that we actually started a program where we're mentoring people. So we do a board meeting mentoring 4 times a year, and we have 5 board meetings in a day, and we let people sit in on each other's. And boy, does that help people grow up. And then when you go to your venture capital firm, you've raised 500 in seed funding or $1 million in, you know, friends and family and a syndicate. When you go to the venture community and you've done 4 board meetings, and you can send them the minutes, the board decks, the projections, the employee stock option plan, the valuation, the 409A, all this stuff, you look like you've got it so together that I think they're more apt to invest, because now this feels more professional, it feels more organized, and it feels less risky, right? You're eliminating the risk of this company not being high functioning. So projecting a high functioning professional atmosphere, I think, makes more people want to be in business with you. Let's go over this last point here real quick.
Yeah, and then the last with communicating with investors is to be proactive with, you know, target investors for the next round. I mean, that could be because, you know, you could have these target investors because you've oversubscribed in the current round and they're looking to the next round, or you just know you want to be partners with someone. You're really keen to work with them. And this means reaching out and asking if you can add them to your monthly updates that you're already doing.
Or just add them. Some investors, some founders just add, I met with you, Jason, I'm adding you. And I'm just like, fine.
That's true.
I just sort it. It's if you're an investor and you're too precious, I'm not too worried about it. My advice to founders is don't even ask. If you met with somebody in person, just tell them, I took the liberty of adding you to our monthly update for, on inside.com. Let me know. There's a link at the bottom if you want to unsubscribe. Let me know if you don't want to get it, but could really use your feedback in the coming months. And it's just, if you're an investor, it's charming and it's free information. So I look at it like, wow, we have this like, sometimes people invest in companies, a small investment in the beginning, so they can monitor the company to see if they can make a bigger investment. If you're sending me information about your startup and I watch it go from $5,000 a month to $50,000 a month, maybe I want to get on the train now. Maybe you've proven it to me through watching those charts and watching the revenue and the runway and the risks start to evolve over time. All right, listen, this has been amazing. It went a little bit long, but I think it had a lot of great information for people. If communications is terrible and you don't have a good foundation, boy, that could cause problems down the road. Make sure you have your communication set up ahead of time. Thanks again, Ashley and Sam, for joining me. And thanks to our partners and Emmy award-winning producer Jackie and Sir Charles. And we'll see you all next time on This Week in Startups. Bye-bye.